Have you ever been listening to a breathtaking piece of music, or maybe watching an incredibly emotional movie scene, and suddenly you feel a shiver run down your spine and the tiny hairs on your arms stand on end? Or maybe it happens when you step out into a chilly autumn evening without a jacket. That prickly, bumpy sensation on your skin is what we call goosebumps. It's a universal human experience. But have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually happening in your body and why? Well, today, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating science behind goosebumps. It has a story that takes us from our ancient ancestors to the very core of our modern emotions. So, let's start with the basics. What are goosebumps? Exactly. The scientific term for this phenomenon is pillow erection. It's an involuntary reaction, meaning you can't consciously control it. Each goosebump is created at the base of a single body hair. Attached to every tiny hair follicle is an even tinier muscle, called the erector pili muscle. When this muscle contracts, it pulls the hair follicle, causing the hair to stand straight up. At the same time, this contraction causes a small bump to form on the surface of your skin around the hair. And when this happens to thousands of hair follicles all at once, you get that classic bumpy texture we call goosebumps. This whole process is controlled by our sympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your nervous system that is responsible for the fight or flight response. It kicks into gear when your body senses a threat, a sudden change, or an intense stimulus. It's the same system that makes your heart race, your palms sweat, and your pupils dilate when you're scared or excited. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, it sends a signal to those tiny erector pili muscles, telling them to contract and voil goosebumps. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get the how, but what about the why? Why did humans evolve this strange reaction? To understand that, we need to travel back in time, way back to when our ancestors were much hairier than we are today. For them, goosebumps served two very practical purposes. First, thermoregulation, which is just a fancy word for staying warm. Imagine one of our furry ancestors out in the cold. When their erector pili muscles contracted, it wouldn't just create little bumps. It would cause their thick coat of hair to stand on end. This would trap a layer of air close to the skin. This trapped air acted as a natural insulator, much like a down jacket does for us today, helping to keep them warm and conserve body heat. While we, modern humans, have far less body hair, the mechanism is still there. That's why you still get goosebumps when you're cold. Even though your sparse body hair doesn't provide much insulation anymore, it's a physiological leftover, a ghost of our evolutionary past. The second reason is all about looking tough. Think about a cat when it feels threatened. Its fur stands on end, making it look bigger, puffier, and more intimidating to a potential predator. Our hairy ancestors likely had the same response. When faced with a threat, pillow erection would make their hair stand up, making them appear larger and more formidable. This could have been just enough to deter an attacker or rival, giving them a crucial survival advantage. So, when you get goosebumps during a scary movie, your body is instinctively trying to make you look bigger and scarier, just like our ancestors did thousands of years ago. It's a primal defense mechanism that's still hardwired into our biology. But here's where things get really interesting. We don't just get goosebumps when we're cold or scared. We also get them during moments of profound emotional experience. Think about hearing a powerful speech, seeing a stunning piece of art, or feeling a deep sense of connection with someone. This phenomenon is often called frisson, or a skin orgasm. It's that pleasant, shiver-like feeling that accompanies intense aesthetic or emotional pleasure. So, why does this happen? Why would an evolutionary trait for warmth and defense be triggered by a beautiful song? Scientists believe that emotional goosebumps are a fascinating byproduct of how our brains are wired. The brain structures involved in processing intense emotions, like the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, are closely linked to the sympathetic nervous system, the same system that controls the fight-or-flight response. When you experience a powerful emotion, whether it's awe, wonder, pride, or even nostalgia, your brain can interpret this intense feeling as a significant event, much like it would interpret a sudden drop in temperature or a perceived threat. Think about music, for example. When a song has an unexpected chord change, a sudden crescendo, or a moving vocal performance, it violates your brain's predictions. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what will happen next. When something surprising and emotionally charged occurs, It triggers a heightened state of arousal. This emotional peak activates the sympathetic nervous system, leading to the release of adrenaline and goosebumps. It's your body's physical reaction to being emotionally moved. Your brain is essentially saying, "Whoa, pay attention. This is important." This connection between emotion and a physical response is incredibly powerful. It shows that our emotional lives are deeply intertwined with our physiological, primitive past. Getting goosebumps from a song is like a modern-day echo of our ancestors puffing up their fur. The trigger is different. It's no longer a predator, but a beautiful melody. However, the underlying biological mechanism is the same. It's a reminder that even our most sophisticated human experiences, like appreciating art, are rooted in ancient survival instincts. Researchers have even studied the types of people who are more likely to experience free. Studies have shown that people are open to new experiences are more likely to get emotional goosebumps. These are individuals who tend to be more imaginative, intellectually curious, and appreciative of beauty and art. Their brains seem to be more engaged when listening to music, allowing for a stronger emotional and physiological response. So if you're someone who frequently gets goosebumps from music or movies, you might just have a personality that's more open and receptive to new and complex experiences. What's also fascinating is that the triggers for emotional goosebumps are highly personal. What gives one person shivers might do nothing for another. It often depends on our memories, our cultural background, and our personal connections to a particular piece of music, story, or image. A song that was playing during a significant moment in your life might give you goosebumps for years to come because your brain has linked it to that powerful emotional memory. So, let's recap what we've learned. Goosebumps, or piloerection, are caused by tiny muscles called erector pili contracting and making our body hair stand on end. This is an involuntary reflex controlled by our sympathetic nervous system. Evolutionarily, this served two main purposes for our hairier ancestors, providing insulation to stay warm and making them look bigger to scare off threats. Today, we still get goosebumps for these same primitive reasons when we're cold or scared. But the system has also been co-opted by our complex emotional brains. Intense feelings of awe, joy, pride, or nostalgia can trigger the same fight-or-flight pathway, giving us that pleasant shiver known as free. It's a beautiful example of how our evolutionary history continues to shape our modern human experience, connecting our most basic survival instincts with our most profound and sophisticated emotions. The next time you feel those little bumps rise on your skin, take a moment to appreciate what's happening. Whether you're shivering from a cold breeze or from the sheer beauty of a sunset, you're experiencing a direct link to your ancient past. It's a physical reminder that we are complex beings, shaped by millions of years of evolution, where survival instincts and deep emotions are woven together in the fabric of our biology. It's one of the many small but amazing wonders of the human body. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Goosebumps. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the science of our everyday lives. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What gives you goosebumps? Is it a particular song, a movie, or something else entirely? Share your stories below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.